Hi, everyone. Welcome to our session. So our session is called Beyond the Hype, How Leading Businesses Lead with Gemini Enterprise. So today, we have 4 speakers here. So we have Reshma Kapadia, who leads outbound product management for Gemini Enterprise. We have Lars Bolanca, who's Managing Director, Corporate IT for Deutsche Börse. And we have Shahnwaz Ali, who's Director of Product for Enterprise AI Enablement for Macquarie Bank. And I am Shrestha Basu Mallick. I lead quality for Gemini Enterprise. So let's look at some statistics. 2025 was a peak year for interest in AI experimentation. 79% of enterprises have adopted AI agents or tools. But that's no longer the real competitive advantage. The real competitive advantage is with the 11% who have cracked the code on security, privacy, governance, integration, and ultimately adoption in scaling AI. The narrative has really shifted from experimentation to scaled impact. And to talk more about that, I'm going to hand it over to Reshma.
Hi, everyone. I'm Reshma. I'm a product manager with Gemini Enterprise. So to continue the talk, where does the scale friction lie when large enterprises try to bring in AI adoption within their organizations? What stops them? Everybody is using AI in their personal lives, of course, using all the tools that you have. But when it comes to enterprises and your work, there is an AI usage stagnation that we see. We use it as a chatbot, but we don't imbibe it within our workflows. There is an issue with IT velocity. We need our developers and admins to do the AI for us. And we don't have that many admins in every enterprise. Governance is a big friction. It's not really a friction, but it is a must-have that kind of slows down the adoption. And last but not the least is measurement gaps. We need clear metrics to see what we are doing and what is the outcome of this entire project. So the difference in success for adoption, everybody has the tools. It's the governance, the way you do it, and the strategy that you're adopting. With that, what you will learn today as a part of this session is how can Gemini Enterprise help you solve these adoption barriers. We will go over the Macquarie story, as well as go over how Deutsche Börse has done the AI adoption in their organization. With these friction points, I want to tell you how Gemini Enterprise can help bridge this gap. So how are we building this product to take you from experimentation to production, making AI a habit for your business users? The way we are building Gemini Enterprise is to be the front door of AI in your organizations. To make it an adoption enabler, we focus primarily on 3 pillars. The first one here is how do you elevate everyday work for the business users? Bringing in data from disparate data sources from various applications, on-prem, on cloud, into one place to enable blended search for the business user using really simple prompts. Enabling a business user to use agentic workflows to build their own agents, as well as use agents that are available to them. And the last, how does Gemini Enterprise help admins govern everything at scale and have a human-in-the-loop oversight while all the business users try out the tool? Let's go into each of these areas on how Gemini Enterprise enables the users. The first one would be real work transformation. With Gemini Enterprise, we are moving from a simple chatbot to unified persistent workflows. In organizations, all of us work in teams. So this week at Next, we are launching projects. Think of projects as a canvas where me and my team members can have a space where we share artifacts, we share documents, we have a continued context, and we share agents. So this is a space, a unified persistent space for human to human and human to agent collaboration. This is an industry first, and it's coming to Gemini Enterprise. Furthermore, to elevate everyday work, we also bring Canvas to Gemini Enterprise. Canvas allows users to generate content, whether it is slides, docs, sheets. You can generate interactive content within Gemini Enterprise, and you do not have the swivel chair effect going from one application to another. And this is not only for Google Workspace customers. You can generate Google Docs, but you can also generate a PPTX. You can export your decks into your Microsoft productivity tools, and you can continue working in that productivity suite as well. This is how you make work really fast and speed it up for your business users. Moving on, talking about IT velocity, the friction that we earlier spoke about. I mentioned earlier that no organization has this army of engineers or admins to build agents, right, for every business user. We want to enable the business user to do it themselves, make it really simple for them. For that, we are launching a new version of the Agent Designer. This is a visual way of creating agents. You give a prompt. The system itself will generate an entire agent for you, if you can see the diagram on the right side. It'll create this entire agent for you. You can edit it, you can run it, you can debug it right there. Along with this, it gives you the option to add nodes. So think of a business user who has at his or her own disposal access to data via MCP servers, via connectors. I can pull in my data. I can add human input to my workflow at any point. I can add human approval at any point. So if there is an email that needs to be sent, while the agent runs, I can say, stop, ask a human for approval, and then proceed. And not just that, I can also add sub-agents to this entire workflow. That sub-agent could be another low-code agent made by my peer, which I completely love, brilliant agent made by my peer, and I want to use it in my workflow. Or it could be a full-code agent made in ADK or any third-party platform that I can pull in my workflow. So I can use these governed, certified agents in my workflow and create my own agent. It becomes a really simple plug-and-play model at this point in time. Now, the differentiation that the Agent Designer gives you is it has the agentic intelligence as well as deterministic workflows. A common pushback that I have found talking to several customers is when we want to take agents into production, people are a little scared, of course. They want some aspects of it to be very deterministic. This Agent Designer gives you the best of both worlds. You can have an if-then-else condition right inside your workflow. You can add these control conditions, you can see the runs, and you can schedule them, and you can also trigger them based on an event. So when an email is received, when a Jira ticket is created, run this autonomously. Run it every 15 minutes while I go get coffee. This is how you speed up work for your business users. Give them the tools, give them the skills, give them the MCP information, and let them proceed. Now, for users who are not really initiated into doing this on their own, we are also launching accelerators. I mentioned Skills. Skills gets launched as a part of Gemini Enterprise really soon, kind of this week. Think of Skills as reusable components that users can bring into their own agents. So say I'm making a workflow to create a marketing strategy document. I can pull in a skill which can check if I am adhering to all the brand guidelines. And not just that, business users can kickstart their journey using pre-built agents. So there are a set of first-party agents that are built by Google, which are available to business users that they can start using on day one. So the day one experience would use a deep research agent. You could use Notebook LM, our most viral product. And in fact, I use that on a daily basis to talk to sales and to give them all the information. You could use a data insights agent that comes along with the product, which helps in doing your NL to SQL. So it works with BQ, and you can do natural language queries from that agent. We're also launching a new version of the deep research agent, by which you would be able to do research on structured as well as unstructured information. That's a new one where you can take data from, say, your CRM, you can take data from BQ, as well as you can take data from, say, your emails and your GCS buckets, wherever you have your unstructured information, and now you run a deep research on it. It'll give you a plan, you can edit your plan, you're good with it, it'll execute it for you, and even give you an audio summary on top of it. Let's talk about governance. So for the admin friends and all the developers who are scared to put these agents in production, we get it. In yesterday's keynote, you would have heard Thomas talk about the agent platform. That is a huge governance initiative that we are taking. You will notice that with Gemini Enterprise, the way we are giving you the power to manage each agent is by having each agent have an identity. So every agent gets a spiffy or a cryptographic identity, and for each agent, you will be able to manage granular permissions. You can decide what data sources that agent can access, if that agent can access another agent, so you decide the life of an agent. If tomorrow I start working on an agent and I give my credentials to an agent even for a fixed point in time, the logs will be able to tell you that if I goof up, I hope I don't, but if I goof up, was it me or was it my agent? You will be able to decipher that kind of information because it has an identity. Not just that, the agent platform includes an entire agent registry that you build on GCP. Again, this registry can have agents that are built in Google Tech, so you could use an ADK, or you could be using third-party platforms. You could be building your agents in, I don't know, Crew AI, LangGraph, LangChain. But if those agents are A2A compatible, you can bring them into the registry, and then you register them with Gemini Enterprise, and that becomes discoverable by your business users. The agent platform also includes registries for MCP servers, for skills, and Gemini Enterprise inherits all of those. We can add agents from the central registry, we can add tools from the central registry, and make it available. And the entire control lies in the agent platform for the admins. You can decide when to enable, disable, or kill a particular agent in case it goes rogue. With Gemini Enterprise, like I mentioned, you get entire unified tracking. You can trace your agents. You can also have model armor working on your entire agentic ecosystem so that there is no threat of malicious intent. And you can have the gateway, the new launch of Agent Gateway, that can help you define policies for your entire agentic ecosystem. Now, You cannot improve what you cannot measure, right? So with Gemini Enterprise, we're adding a bunch of analytics so that you can measure the outcome every step of your way. In the analytics page, which is a part of the platform, you will find detailed metrics for every app that you create within Gemini Enterprise. You get details per user as well as per agent. So which agent has been used by which user when? You want to figure out which department of yours is running on this AI adoption, you will be able to decipher that. You can then double down on your enablements, do hackathons based on all these metrics that you see in the platform itself. And this is all other than the detailed logs that I mentioned about. At this point, let's look at the use cases that we are finding in the industry. These are real use cases from my customers. I don't have the customer names here, but these are the use cases that we find most often, where people kickstart their journey on AI adoption or ramp. Typically starts off with a self-service, so bringing data together and doing a Q&A on it. Very widely used in call centers, for HR onboarding, in customer onboarding. So this is a very, very common use case. Automated compliance. This refers back to folks in legal departments, in marketing, where you need to adhere to a statutory requirement or you need to adhere to maybe a brand guideline. And this is where people use AI and people use agents to make that happen. Workflows. There are customers of mine that are using it for invoice reconciliation to automate that entire process. Even procurement processes are today using Gemini Enterprise and automating their workflows. SDLC, again, a very common one. I mean, coding and SDLC is where you see the highest amount of adoption of these AI tools. And data synthesis, this is primarily referring to the healthcare industry, where we are seeing unstructured data in terms of medical notes that are being synthesized and used by the folks in the industry. So the business impact is real. We have several customers that are listed here and many, many more who are today using Gemini Enterprise. You heard about Signal Iduna yesterday again in Thomas's keynote, where they are measuring the impact based on their workflows. They see a 37% reduction in their processing time. They have created a complex agent, so an ADK agent, that works to give them the 90% reduction in escalations. We have Anaplan that's mentioned here with 80% adoption of Gemini Enterprise in their workspace. They have built thousands of no-code agents. So have Burns and McDonald's. This is how a lot of companies are doing it. They are giving the tools to the business users to explore while the admins manage the oversight. To me, it seems more like parenting, right? Coming from a mom's perspective. Let them explore, but with guardrails. So there is a window of opportunity for all of you here. There are the fast movers who are doing this. There are 46% of companies that are leveraging GenAI in their daily workflows. And we have a few of them here. So with that, I would like to invite Shahnwaz to talk about how Macquarie Bank is leveraging Gemini Enterprise in their daily life.
Thank you, Reshma. So just 2 weeks after we launched Gemini Enterprise, that's it. So 2 weeks, just 2 weeks since we launched Gemini Enterprise, one of our employees temporarily lost access to Gemini Enterprise. So she came up to me and said, it felt like life without internet. So that's not adoption, that's transformation. The transformation of our ways of working. And that's enabled by Gemini Enterprise. Hello, everyone. My name is Shahnwaz Ali, and I'm the Director of Product for Enterprise Enablement at Macquarie. So before I talk about anything else, I want to let you know that we made a decision that we are going to roll out Gemini Enterprise to all of our 5,000 people across the bank. And when we did that, we actually doubled our workforce. So we have 5,000 people, and all those 5,000 people have at least one personal agent. So that makes it at least 10,000 of the workforce that we have today. So that was a massive decision we made, but there was very conscious decisions that we made. So today I'm going to share a bit of a story about the Gemini Enterprise rollout with all of you. Before I do that, though, I want to share a little bit about Macquarie Group. So Macquarie Group is a global financial organization that operates in about 31 markets across the globe, and we have 4 operating groups. So Macquarie Asset Management, Banking and Financial Services, Commodities and Global Market, and Macquarie Capitals. So all of these 4 operating groups are serving our corporate customers, institutional clients, as well as the retail clients. I am representing Banking and Financial Services, BFS. So we are serving 2.2 million customers across Australia. So all of our customer base is Australia. So 2.2 million customers. And we are a digital bank. So we don't have any physical branch. And what it means for us that we need to make sure that all of our digital processes are there to serve our clients 24/7. And so for that, we have been on a decade-long transformation journey. So we built the digital bank ground up. That basically took us few years, but we built it ground up. All of our applications are running in cloud, 100% in cloud. We operate in a platform model, and our reliability is 99.97. So when we made this decision to be an AI-first organization a year ago, everything was set up for it. So we had the tech stack, we had the culture, and we were ready for it. And that's where we made the decision to bring the Gemini Enterprise. So our AI-first strategy, let me give you a bit of a sense of what it is. So our AI-first strategy does 2 things at once. It sets the direction from the top, and then it unlocks the bottom of innovation. So just think about that. You have a top-down direction, and then you have a bottom-up innovation. Combining the 2 is a rare combination, but it's such a powerful combination, and that is really underpinning our story. It's the top-down direction and a bottom-up innovation. So in terms of what our aspirations are, in terms of our North Star, we want to become the most scalable operator. The word is scale. For us, it's all about scale, the most scalable operator in the financial services. And for us to do that, we want to make use of AI to scale fast and scale smart. So it's not like we adopting AI first. We actually have a business strategy that is helping us to adopt AI. And so every time we do anything to do with AI, we're always linking it back to what is our business goals. So that's very deliberate. So I think for anyone here who's already deploying Gemini Enterprise or thinking about it, think about it where that fits into your AI strategy and how that AI strategy links back to your business strategy. So where we are today. So just 7 months. So if you take the Christmas holidays, December and January period out, just 7 months. And we have already delivered 130,000 hours, productivity hours back to our people. And these are the people now, they are freed up from all of these manual tasks, and they now can focus on what matters the most. And what matters the most to us is delivering those exceptional digital experiences to our clients. And when we ran a company-wide hackathon, we called it Innovation Lab, and that was just after 3 weeks since we launched Gemini Enterprise. What we have seen is that there were hundreds of the solutions, I don't call them ideas, hundreds of those solutions that were delivered and demonstrated through that hackathon. And guess what? Those solutions were not built by a tech team or an AI team. Those solutions were built by the experts in legal, in marketing, in compliance, in sales team, not a tech team. So all of these people were feeling so empowered because they were able to build all those solutions all by themselves. So we are now in the process to roll those things out, as Reshma was saying, through proper guardrails into production. And so for us, one of the key things, and I'll give you an example at that point in time when we were running those, and one of the presenters, there were two presenters showing their solution onto the stage. And one of them asked the other to say, so are you not worried AI is going to take your job? So the other person smiled and said, I definitely want AI to take and automate this manual part of my job. So that's just not an accident. Like, people just can't say like that. People could really see what an empowering tool we were giving it out to them. So I think it's super critical for all of us who's on this journey to understand that you got to make sure that it's not about the tool, it's about what people can do with the tool. And at the end of the day, it's all about solving the problem. And they are the experts who understand those problems. And if you empower them, the sky is the limit. Just to give you a bit more context, we were the first in Australia to launch Gemini Enterprise. So the first organization, and to give it to everyone in our organization. This is not a selected features, not a selected cohort of the people, but everyone. And what we see now that it's actually gone up. It's not 70%, it's actually around close to 80% of the people using it every day. Truly making it their kind of day-to-day partner. And for us, that retention rate is super critical. So people are not just coming in and using Gemini Enterprise, they're staying on it. They're making it a part of their day-to-day work. So that's for us super critical. Like, it's not any other tool on the kit. It's actually what we call as home page for everyone in BFS. Now, how did we get there? So it's super critical for us to understand that as much as it's all about technology, it's actually about how we enable our people. And for us, we always say people is our competitive advantage. And so we made a very conscious decision that we are going to upskill all of our people, 5,000 people, through a structured training program. So, and as a result of that, you could see here more than 90% of our BFS people have now completed one of the Gen AI learning pathways. So either you are an AI user, or a leader, or a foundation builder. What is more impressive is that 97% of our BFS senior leaders, these are the people who never took an exam in the last 30 years, they sat on an exam and they cleared that exam as well. And so 97% of our senior leaders, so it's coming from the top down, have been Google Gen AI Leader certified now. And more than 3,000 people, we actually took them through the training as part of that job, as part of that training. So as you can see, it's not like we just handed over the tool to the people. We've gone through a proper structured training program because we always have said it's the people who makes the difference, and the technology, AI, is the enabler for them. So just to give you a bit of a blueprint, this is just our way. This is not the perfect way, but just to give you something to take away. So what we did is we obviously anticipated the challenges with our risk partners, and I know you're taking a lot of photos of this, but let me take you into the details. The key part here was taking all of our risk partners, so the legal team, the risk team, the compliance team, all of those people onto the pilot. So they were not the people sitting at the side trying to review something. We said, you are our first set of people, we want to get you onto the tool. So when they got onto the tool, they got a better understanding of how they're going to risk review that. Because for us in a regulated industry, that's super critical, that we do a proper risk assessment. So that was good. We did that structured programming. For us, what we said and what Reshma said, that we opened the access to everyone and for everything. And obviously we had the guardrail, but it was super critical for us that we were empowering everyone in BFS to have access to everything from day one. So that was critical for us. And then Google was a key partner to us, obviously, throughout the journey. So it's not like all rosy picture that I'm painting here. We had fair share of our challenges, but Google were there with us as a co-innovation. We call it co-innovation, deep partner with us, solving those problems. Even at the time when the product wasn't even there, we were on the product. So even when it was called Agent Space. So we had a really good partnership and journey with Google. And the feedback loop was super critical for us. Like we made sure we were open to any and all feedbacks from all of our users. And we were really obsessed with that feedback because that's how we could improve the product. So for us, going forward, our strategy is super simple. We want to make our people productive today by using their personal agents and whatnot. But we want to, at the same time, then build for those automated solutions through enterprise agents for tomorrow. So simple. Make your people productive today and think about how you're going to automate their repetitive tasks for tomorrow. So before I wrap things up, and I do have a couple of demos, and I'll play the videos for you, I just wanted to just come back and repeat what I said before. What are the 3 key things? The 3 key things are, please make sure, if you are on this journey, that you're training and educating people through any structured program. Invest in your people as much as you're investing buying the Gemini Enterprise as a tool. That's super critical. Give them the access to everything and see what amazing things everybody is going to come up with. And let it compound. The personal productivity is actually a catalyst for what you're going to do at an enterprise level. So make sure you do all of those 3 things, and there's no looking back after that. So let me give you, hopefully, where are the demos? So let me play a couple of, these are the demos for the enterprise agents that we built. These came from the personal productivity, which we have then taken through a proper review process, governance process, and they are, one of them gone live, and one is going live soon. So this is a team of 30 people. They get all of these sensitive matters that they need to support. So think about 30 people, and maybe 50 of those cases they have to deal with it. They are buried in those spreadsheets. They need to do a mapping of the thing. By the way, it's all fake data. So all of these mapping between what is the product, what type of the services that I need to serve for, typing an email, as you can see, and rewriting it again and again because they're thinking about whether I'm writing the right things. It's a sensitive matter. They go through some internal portals to try and grab all of that information. It's a lot of time, and think about the pressure they are on because it's a team, it's a small team, and it's a big client base. They always, and then we build this agent for them. They just put whatever the necessary information was required. All of the information was ready. Obviously, we don't have the email integration there yet, but if it was just a matter of the button, clicking of a button, and the email was sent. But we have the template filled out, and it's there ready to go for them. So that team is now churning through 3x of the cases in one day. So just by simply automating their workflows and not even having the integration with Outlook. So it's massive. Let me try and see if I can play another one for you. So this is a legal team. So our legal team, we are a heavily regulated living in a heavily regulated environment, always looking for things to reviewing all of the incidents to say whether there's any legal breach when there's an incident. So this is, again, a very small team. What they do, they try and get the information manually from various different places, try to look for all of the things that they want to kind of look at from a legal perspective, go through a portal of a legal standards and whatnot. It's a lot of manual processes. And again, this team is, again, heavily under pressure. And then we build that product for them, the enterprise agents. What they need to do is just put a small information into that chatbot. It'll bring up everything. It'll check against the standard in the back end, and it'll do the job for them. And feel super empowered. They can actually find time to have a coffee now, which they were complaining they never find time to have a coffee because they have so many things to do all the time. So it's very empowering, not only to what we can accelerate and do with Gemini Enterprise as a company, and productivity, but it's also what it does to the mental being of these, mental well-being for these people. So it's equally critical for us that it's empowering our people, helping them with the time that they have now, and also driving the personal productivity. So with that, I'm just going to say one thing and finish it off, is that the technology, Gemini Enterprise's technology, is available exactly in the same way to all of us in this room or beyond. I think the key difference between the hype and the results are really, are you ready to invest in your people? Are you ready to invest through a structured training program and bring them onto the journey, open the access to them, and let them do the amazing things they'll do? With that, thank you very much. I'll invite Lars to share their Deutsche Börse story as well. Thank you.
So, thank you, Shahnwaz, and also a warm welcome from my side. So my name is Lars Bolanca, Head of Corporate IT, Managing Director, Deutsche Börse Group. And first of all, let me say a big thank you, Shahnwaz, to you, because your story very well resonated. And I also learned it only this morning, so I didn't know it before. And we are also a very regulated industry, but different than Macquarie Bank. We are kind of not a consumer bank, but we are more a market and infrastructure provider, right? So we are working behind the curtains. You don't see us, but you read firsthand in the press when things go wrong. And reading things in the press for us takes seconds to minutes, simply because our value chain covers the whole market. To give a few numbers, and before I also later go in the journey, we are running 6 times the world's gross product in our books in a year along the value chain. So it's really speaking billions every day that go through our books. A mistake of a minute or an hour can cost you very quickly millions. And this makes it, as a business model, also being very regulated. So we are operating in 60 countries in the world. 30 countries roughly are regulated, so we have to deal with all these regulations. And this is why mentally people are very much risk averse, right? Don't do mistakes. Always follow what authorities are saying, and just be careful. So this is kind of the mantra. And I think what very well resonated, so this is why I really made me smile a lot, is that it is also an opportunity when you speak about governance, when you speak about risk. And what we have done, and there was also deja vu with our cloud journey, is about, I just have to see how this works here. And what we had with our cloud journey is also, everyone was telling us when we started, like, don't do it, the regulator doesn't want it. Other companies don't want it, the customers don't want it. So these were the things that we were hearing very often, and we had the same with AI. But what was important for us is that the earlier you start the journey, the more you can shape it. You can shape it with your people. And this is why you said also, take all the people and make them part of the journey. Take all your regulators and make it part of the journey. Take your customers and make it part of the journey. And this is where we started our AI journey around 2024, so very, very early. And as usual, the first things what people do is they want to build everything ourselves, right? Because you have the control, you know what you do, you know your business model, and you don't tell anyone else because they could steal your ideas, right? So this is the normal things. So it took us 12 months, roughly, to build the first AI model. People have been working, build it really on pure Google infrastructure, so the early models of Vertex, but found out that when they finished, it was already outdated because there was 20 new language models that were in the market that did the same. And this is something which I will also elaborate later a bit, that the speed of language models these days is every day there's a new language model that Google brings to market. So all the process that we in IT historically had, where you take 6 months, 12 months, 18 months for a project, they don't work anymore, right? Even the documentation part to start a project takes you 1 or 2 months, analysis, development, testing, and so on. In the agent world, you're speaking days or maximum weeks, and this I will share in a second. So why did we choose Gemini Enterprise? And I think there was a lot of reasons, and most probably I will repeat a bit what you said, but the first one was we wanted to work with a partner who helps us. And it must be a partner who works at industry scale, because if you work with local partners, small partners, you very often build something that is very localized, right? And we wanted to do something that really works globally for our business model. that is very much technology-driven and really motivates people directly start from day one. And this only works if you give people access to state-of-the-art AI models. The worst that can happen in enterprises, people come to you and say like, I don't know what you do. Privately, I'm using this already since 6 months, because then you're sitting already with your back to the wall. Right? So we wanted to have access to state-of-the-art AI models. Vertex AI is an example. Second one is we wanted to have also ready-to-use capabilities. So the people love to discuss tools, right? Comparison between Salesforce has the better tool, SAP has the better AI, Workday has the better AI, Oracle has the better AI. And then people start discussing. But in the end, again, while they discuss, new language models get brought into the market. And we try to translate this more into speaking about capabilities, because a lot of the problems that we have seen also with the teams are the same. So even if you have all these, what you mentioned, also a long list of use cases, in the end, if you categorize them by what are knowledge use cases, what are automation use cases, and so on, you find out you have 5 or 6 categories, and all of the ideas fit into these categories. So this is why we spoke about capabilities. Third one, very, very important for us, simply from a resilience point of view, is enterprise-grade security and compliance. And there's no way that any company in the world can compete with the large players. I think this is very, very, very strong commitment also. And for example, for someone like Google, security and compliance is essential for their business model. A data breach or anything else kills the business model overnight. So whom are you competing with? And we said, like, we never would be able to compete, so let's consume. The fourth one is, goes back to employee enablement. So how do you get employees in making things themselves? Because as an IT organization, and I'm saying this being an IT person from heart, IT will never be as fast as people, because they have the problem today and they want to fix it today. They don't want to go to IT, ask you for a project, you tell them, come in 6 weeks, I don't have time, I don't have capacity, come with money, and all these type of things. People don't want to hear this, because they built an agent and they take into assumption, into consideration that an agent built today, maybe in 6 weeks you throw it away already and build another one, right? IT cannot cope with this. So this is where we wanted to bring it directly to the employees. The fifth one was advanced reasoning and content generation. We said, also given our business model, and Reshma was also speaking about governance, 30 countries that are regulated, 60 countries where you have a business model, 12 languages in the company that are formal languages that we have to do. All of this you cannot do in a Google search or with a dictionary. So you need deeper reasoning, especially when it comes to formal documents. So this is something where we said we want to have it. And the same is also valid for content generation. Because in a formal business, and this is also relevant for us, you need to have the same document sometimes in 10 versions, in 10 languages, in 10 different look and feels, in 10 different storylines. You can't do this by hand. So we wanted to have content generation. And the last one, I will share this also a bit, is how do you solve the problem of knowledge? I've been working in the software industry for 25 years, and one of the many problems that was never really solved is how do you transport knowledge in a global scale in times where knowledge gets outdated in hours or days. And there were so many companies in the market that try to bring tools into place like, hey, we are the better knowledge management. They always promised you, we solve it. You implemented them, you forced people to write everything into in the same tool, and when they finished writing, it was outdated again. And this is something where we said you need better versions to be able also to, on the one side, be fast. Second, make it user intuitive, so bring it close to the person. But third one, also to be controllable, right? Because hallucination in a regulated world very quickly, again, gets difficult. So what have we done? And I think also for us internally, the time of speaking functions and features is gone away, right? So we spoke functions and features in 2024 and 2025. This year, the focus is about speaking value and impact. And how do you measure the value of impact in the AI world? Of course, you can take money. You can say like euros. You can count hours of savings. But there's also a quality side. And this is something that you easier can explain to people. Because if you go to normal employees and tell them like, hey, I'm saving 10% of your time, people very quickly think about like, what does it mean? So you have to find qualitative factors. And what we have been looking is how can we accelerate AI adoption across business functions. So we have built a model where we have, for every business that we have, so we have 6 businesses in the group. For each of the businesses, we have a dedicated AI team that works dedicated for them. So we generated a bit of a competition. Who's faster deploying AI models? Who has more AI models or agents in place? Who is generating more value when it comes to euro savings, revenue, quality improvements, or anything else? So we really had a competition that started somewhere in the middle of last year. Then we have as a second impact the productivity in daily workflows. This is something we can measure very well because we know roughly our processes. We have very strong and very large business operations teams, so the teams that work every day with clients. They do ticketing, orders, money movements, those type of things, and you know how long they take, right? And these processes are highly standardized on the one side, need a lot of 4 or even 6 eye principle because you need to avoid errors. But on the other side, they take a lot of time. And this is something where we have been, especially for our so-called post-trade business, have been taking out a lot of, let's say, work that in the past people took weeks, and we reduced it to minutes or hours. So this was one of the major improvements. The last one is we have an internal AI platform. It runs on Gemini Enterprise. And on the other side, we have a lot of businesses through acquisition, through different use cases, who need different AI models. And this is where we wanted also to make sure that we are complementary so that we can bring things together. And this is where I think there was also a lot of announcement yesterday about Claude, for example. We are using Claude also through Google, fully integrated. For the end user, it doesn't matter what they use. They can access everything. Now, how do we measure impact besides speaking hours and also besides speaking adoption? First of all is training is, and this was said already multiple times today, training is essential. And we have also very closely with our group HR function worked very hard in making AI trainings part of the day-to-day business. So people can do this. There's funding for this. There's dedicated time. And we have a lot of trainings for different user groups. I am doing, for example, even training for our supervisory board. And this is not written here because these are things you don't write. But it is, on the one side, very interesting. On the other side, also very challenging, because in a normal supervisory board, coming from Germany, some of them do not even speak English. So you have to speak German, you have to speak English. How do you train them? And it starts with very simple things, how to do prompting. A prompt is not a Google search, right? If you do like what is my next vacation or something like this, doesn't work. So we had a lot of trainings also together with Google where we tried to explain people how to do prompting, how to engage, how to use Notebook LM, we'll come to this in a second, how to control their data, because shit in, shit out, very straight. So this is something we are doing. The second one, also for us very important, is accuracy. And I think one of the questions I very often get asked is, how do you trust AI? My counter question is, how do you trust people? Because if you ask the same question to 10 people, you will get 10 answers. So how do you trust those 10 answers and judge which one is right or which one is wrong? AI is the same. You will get 10 answers. If you take 10 models, you have to judge. So there is always a human component as part of the process, but we have shown, especially for our critical functions, 95% accuracy. So we could prove over a time period of 6 to 12 months that what AI was deciding was exactly the same, that people were also doing the same. Third one is cycle time reduction. We just had last week, so it's really fresh off the press, a bit of a very interesting and on the other side, challenging conversation with our group finance team, because we do billing, so billing for customers. This is where the revenue comes from. The most complex in the world, even more complex than telecommunication industries because of the complexity of the customer structure. And we have a team, roughly 10 people. They do nothing else since 20 years than writing requirements. And writing requirements for them is like lifetime. This is they invest. And we used a Gemini model, and we told them, like, it can't be that you're always writing always the same requirements because you have written thousands of pages. And most of the stuff just gets updated, reused, different materials, different prices, and then you use it again. And it took us 16 hours to write requirements for roughly 100 fee types, so we call it fee types. And normally the time to do this would have taken around 3 months. So 10 people writing 3 months the same requirements that we did in 16 hours. And they were so embarrassed, so I can share this a bit, they were so embarrassed that they said, like, can't be true. And they started reading. They were searching for mistakes. And there were mistakes, let's be very honest, there were mistakes. But it was so good from a structure and from a quality that they now use this a week later. So we just did it last week. They used this a week later to finish the requirements writing. It was really a wow moment. The last one, I think, and this is then also the perfect transition a bit to Notebook LM. We are using Notebook LM very wide in the company for 3 cases. The first one is employee onboarding. So we have a lot of new joiners, all type of experiences, all type of backgrounds. And we use Notebook LM that people have all the knowledge, all documents. The average number of documents that a person in business operations has to read is around 120 documents. So this is their typical onboarding. 4 weeks, 120 documents. Now they are hearing this as podcasts. They are getting their summaries. They use small chunks, so we make like 1-minute videos. And this is how people are using this. And this only works with Notebook LM. So this is a feature people like. And also our supervisory board likes. So this is the interesting part. The second part is as I said, for supervisory board, we have a very strong governance in place. And for supervisory board, everything must be 100% curated. So they only get the documents they should read, because any other information is not good. The interesting piece was the moment we gave Notebook LM as a trial period to our supervisory board, the next day, I was called like, this can't be, you can't do this. And I said, like, why? Because the board members, and the supervisory board controls the board, were saying they are better equipped than us. So they will ask us questions we cannot answer. So we want to have the same weapon. So we had to train the board members on how to use it so that at least both are in parity when it comes to information. It was something we didn't even think about it, right? The same is internal audit. We are using it for internal audit. Imagine audit can hunt all your documents in minutes and no longer in weeks. They will hunt you. So we had to equip the other side also. So this was the interesting part of it. The second one is, I think we mentioned it before, no-code agents. We have what we call corporate actions. So these are transactions that have a lot of money value. So we are moving millions and billions around. This is corporate actions. We have built AI agents who are doing this, and we have built counter AI agents who control this. This is live and productive. So it means one agent defines the documentation and triggers the payment. The second agent checks the payment against the original order. So this is what we are doing, and this is what we also call then multi-agent workflows. We have in the meantime chains of up to 12 agents in a row. If you take this in a prompt language, it's 53 pages of prompts where you put different roles against each other, and this is working pretty strong, right? And for us, at least internally, it's the cool side about it is that we can get a lot of different roles. You mentioned it, legal, compliance, risk, IT, finance, working together in a forced mode, but using AI because we develop models where all of them are represented. And this is something where I can also encourage all of you as an enabler to not only look at small use cases for individual teams, but look at where can you connect teams, because this is something that makes it very powerful. So this is a bit the background, and with this, I would hand back to you the key takeaways. Thank you, Shrestha.
So I'm just going to do a quick wrap up. Thank you all for your patience. So here are the key takeaways. Workflow transformation. A lot of enterprises are using AI to make their workflows more efficient, and that's a fine place to start. But really, in 2026, we need to start using AI as a collaborator, similar to how Lars is using Notebook LM as a collaborator for his supervisory board. Secondly, platform thinking. It's a good place to start to use disconnected tools and disjointed APIs. But really, to scale AI effectively and safely, a unified platform is what will serve you best. A unified platform that has enterprise-grade governance, data security, access controls built into the foundation, not bolted on. And finally, outcome-driven metrics. When Shahnwaz was talking, he mentioned 100+ enterprise agents applied. But really, the metric to look at was their 130,000 hours saved. or in Lars's case, 80% cycle time reduction. So the promise of AI is in having measurable outcome-driven metrics. With that, we have industry job, but as you can see, those are fading away. What is really AI is going to be your collaborator, your enabler, your agentic companion as you transform your enterprise. Thank you.